There is something that every child will tell you today. A unicorn is stronger than an army of ponies.
Alright, so thank you so much. I think that technology is fascinating. And just real quick, how many of you have an Amazon Alexa or Google Home in your house right now? I have more every time I ask that question. So, without taking any more time, I know we're getting close to the end. We have one more presentation today, and it's my pleasure to introduce Joel, who's the CEO and founder of Jinnbee.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon everybody, thanks Greg. I'm Joel, the founder of Jinnbee. It's a company dedicated to innovation in insurance. Just to start, who am I? I've been a consultant for insurance industry for the 13 last years, and I created last year in 2018 Jinnbee, a company which is a hybrid between a blog, because I'm a blogger for insurance innovation, which means I'm a media, and on the other side I'm a consultant, because I think that the transformation of insurance industry comes by giving pieces of information to you, insurer, and the whole market to better understand what is happening, and then to try to sell this as a consultant and to open horizons and to bring additional pieces of solutions. What do? I built an international landscape of Insurtechs. The problem today in the market is that when you think about Insurtechs, everyone will tell you, oh, yes, an Insurtech is a startup which raised money. How much fund did you raise? It means that you are good or not. For me, the money that you raise is not an element to say the value, to show the value that you are bringing to the market. So I decided to build my own personal and proprietary database, which is open. It's open source. You can log in on my website to visit it and to show it. Today I identified 1,500 startups around the world which are helping the process and value chain of insurance. If you are trying just right now to log into my website, you will have some slight problem because it's not totally compatible with the mobile. It's coming. But if you come on a desktop, it will work properly. On this database, you will see it's an international thing, so we will find startups coming from everywhere. It's visual and interactive. I will show you a little bit after how it works. It's unique in the world, according to me and the research that I'm currently ongoing. I don't know anyone else doing the same thing. It's open data. It's free for you. You can access it. It's work in progress. It means that I found 1,500 startups, but out of those, 650 are fully documented. This means that I'm trying to bring additional information. Is this startup bringing new business, reducing costs, improving customer satisfaction, improving the processes, and so on. So I'm trying to bring a valuation of the added value of the startup. My different axes, processes that you can help, the business line, the technology that you bring, and then the type of innovation and the use cases. So it's really business oriented. And out of those, more than 250 are personally met. So it means that I'm trying to gather as much information as I can, either from the website or different sources online, or directly with the startups. Is it interactive? Yes. Actually, I put some picture. I hope it will work properly. When you look on the screen, you can see the different startups. I try to search for tractable that you have probably met here. You can select one startup. It will bring you the different links on different axes. And you can move through all the interactive landscape. Then you can go on claims process, and you will have a filter on all the startups that are working on claims process. And then if you want to select back another startups, you will find the detail of the startups and the element of the value chain and the value proposal of the startup. Okay, what do I do with that? This is just to try to build a knowledge base, but after when you have a knowledge base, you need to use it. I wanted to use it around the claim process because I think that today it's one of the biggest issues for insurance industry, so I built a mapping, dedicated mapping for claims process. What did I do? Out of my 1,500 startups, I scanned everyone, and I said which one are helping claims. Out of those 1,500, I identified 200 startups around the world, 45 countries in the world, helping claims process. And I wanted to map them, but map them usefully, something that could be useful for you. I identified the use cases behind. What are those startups doing for claims process? I grouped them, I identified 94 use cases. Maybe sometimes one startup is providing several use cases. And then out of these use cases, I identify the business requirements that are behind. Why do I do that? Because when you come to such an event here, you meet a startup and you say, oh, it's interesting what you are providing. But how can we work together? The problem is that the startup's solution is not a problem. So I wanted to come back to the problem and say, what are the business requirements that we can work on? And how can we go further? 200 startups around the world. Now let's see what we can do with that. My message, and I know the startups won't agree with me, my message is forget about Insurtechs. You don't need Insurtech. But you need their ideas. So first forget about Insurtechs and focus on your business pain points. What is the problem? Where are you not perfect in your process? An Insurtech solution, focus on your problem. What I suggest to do is first raise transformation opportunities based upon your business requirements, then give you trends and ideas about what is existing in the world on this business requirement. And finally, arbitrate between make or buy. Maybe sometimes you will prefer to make by yourself because it's a strategic choice. And if you want to buy, you will go and see one startup, the good one, with the good maturity level, answering your own business requirement. Well, the objective this afternoon is to give you some pieces of success story of Insurtechs on the claims process. First, it raises the question of what is the success for a startup. It depends. Many people will tell you that the success is how much money you raised. Normally, we can all agree on the fact that if you have customers, if you generate sales, it's already a success. But I still want to bring a business point of view. So I would like to think about, on business point of view, okay, let's say that you have customers, you have sales, it's a good point, but let's think about what it means. For me, you have, the success can be judged according to which is the person that you want to please. The first person is the customer. When I mean the customer, I mean the final customer. And I would like just to show you an example that maybe you know. Generally, I'm French, so I'm trying to find examples coming from abroad in order to give French people examples from abroad. Here we are very few French people, so I can give you French example, so that it's something foreign for you. One example is Liberty Rider. I don't know if you know this startup. It's a startup working for the bikers. They are providing a smartphone app which is tracking the movements of the biker, and when there is an accident, there is instant detection of the accident. The question with the biker is not exactly the same one as the car, because when you are riding, you have the gloves, you can't touch the phone, you can't do lots of things. So Liberty Rider thought about this customer orientation. How does it work when you are biking, when you are riding your bike, and you have a problem? So what they propose is that they have an instant communication, incoming, a call. You are called by an assister that will call you in order to know if everything is going properly, if you are fine. And on the phone, you just receive a phone call, but you receive just two big parts of the smartphone with, are you okay, yes or no? Because when you have gloves, it's not easy just to answer the phone. So you just have a big part of the screen that is selected to choose that. But what did they do? They thought that this was not enough. So they decided to go even further in the customer orientation. And they decided to put captors directly in the gloves. Because they thought that you don't even always think about your smartphone when you are riding. So you know as a biker that you need to put your gloves to ride. So they put the IoT sensors in the gloves to make sure that you are always protected. This is a way to protect the customer and to think about the customer. Everyone talks about customer orientation, but there are not so many opportunities and so many solutions existing on the market to focus on that. There is another people that you could wish to please. It's the financial teams or regulation-oriented teams. This could be a good part because behind it's the cost reduction topic. So having financial team pleased could be a great interest for your company. Just an example of what is existing on this point. I give you the example of Monuma. Monuma is a French company dedicated to the arts and estimation of art and patrimony. They propose right now a solution which is called Umbrella, which lets you have a digital bailiff in your pockets. This means that with the blockchain, which is for me one of the unique use case, valid use case for insurance, they store in the blockchain photos and information about the status of your patrimony, of your art objects, or anything that you have in your home. So you can have a before status, and in case of claim, you have an after status. So it means that you have in the blockchain, so this can be legally produced, you have in the blockchain something that you can prove in order to have the before, after, and then have an assessment, direct assessment of the valuation and the loss that occurs to you. For the appraisal time, it's a drastic reduction and really efficient for an insurance company. Last person that you would like to please is the employee. We heard lots of people those 2 days talking about AI and the gain that you could have in your company. The problem is that when you talk to insurance companies, they will say, okay, I know lots of solutions to improve my productivity by 30%. It's not a problem, we have lots of solutions. But I have 300 persons working on me, working for me. If I improve 30% my productivity, what do I do with them? So the question of employees is really crucial, and this is one of the main objections today that limit and restrain the transformation of industry. Then the question is, do you consider that your employees are those kind of little guinea pig in the wheel? Or do you consider them as some people able to bring you value and improve your process? An example of employees and what's a success story existing for employees, there is a company called Celrose. They propose something called the improved augmented insurer. What they are proposing is an automatization of treatment of information in order to show and to show on the desktop, on the computer of the employee, the next best things to do. The question is not to say that we don't need the employees anymore. The question is to say many tasks of the employees won't exist tomorrow because it will be done automatically. The question is just to identify within the tasks of people, what are the tasks that are really human doable? Well, why will be useful the human tomorrow? There is empathy, there is communication, there is reinsurance, but in the human sense of the term. And they want to say, okay, everything that is just gathering information and understanding the use case and the case of the people, this is something that can be done automatically. For the rest, we just push this data to the employee, and the employee does the rest. They raised 4 million euros at the beginning of the year, and I'm strongly opposed to money raising when it's not useful, but in their case, it's just for accelerating because they are opening new countries. The question of success stories in Insurtechs depends on the levers that you consider that as relevant. But anyway, if you think that you are trying to have one of those three elements, you can be sure that you will have either new business or cost reduction or customer and employee satisfaction and engagement. Okay, just a few elements for any opportunities for growth for the future. I would like to give you an example of what can be done on Insurtech side, because an opportunity for growth would be a kind of cooperation. This cooperation can be done on two axes. The first one is cooperation to complete the value chain. When you meet today the Insurtechs or the startups in general, you will see that many of them are just covering one partial piece of the process, one little piece. The question is, do you, insurer, want to meet lots of Insurtechs answering lots of little pieces, or do you prefer to see one Insurtech or one solution covering the full process with a kind of legal modularity that you can adjust as you wish? Just an example here, there is a group called Wild Cockpit in France that decided to try this kind of cooperation. Today they started at the beginning of 2019 with 5 startups working together, and now they are extending to 8 startups. Their objective is to try to think about the full process they want to cover and try to take as many startups as necessary in order to cover this process. If you can cover a bigger part of the value chain, you have a real opportunity for growth and mutualization of commercial activities and so on. A second cooperation is to the mutualization of efforts. I wanted an icon of pyramid, but I didn't find it, so I put cake. It's quite the same. When you think about innovation, I will always say that it's kind of a pyramid. You will spend lots of time for the basis of the pyramid, just spending time on administration, regulation topic, legal, technical basis, and so on. And then the value comes at the top. When I say mutualization of efforts, it says that when I consult my database of 1,500 startups, I often see that on one country, another country, the third country, we have exactly the same value proposition. 3 startups covering exactly the same value chain, the same process, and the same offer. Really often, those people don't want to work together, just because they want to be the only driver in the car. But just imagine 1 second that those 3 people work together and gather their strengths from different countries in order to improve what they are doing. They will share their technical basis, they will build a bigger brand, and at the end of the day, they will improve what they can do and what they can propose to the insurance industry. There is something that every child will tell you today. a unicorn is stronger than an army of ponies. We need today to focus on proposing bigger and not trying to focus on little parts. I put you just below because many of us were born in the 20th century, so unicorn at that time were just something that does not exist and with corn in the head. So the sentence from Oscar Wilde is the same. Shoot the moon, even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Depends on the generation. And the question here is just to try to focus, to see big. Because the startups can't go on focusing on little pieces of processes. It cannot work, and we need to go bigger and bigger. Last opportunities. The last opportunities is for you and for you, insurer. Why? I'm totally convinced that in 10 years, we will face a revolution. A total revolution in the insurance industry. The question is it a Soviet revolution with a great night occurring in 9 years and 12 months? I'm not sure. Let's say that you need to do 10,000 steps in order to get to the next step of the revolution. We can't imagine that the 10,000 steps will be done in 9 years. We are sure that we need to do one step at a time. We need to keep moving. So really often we hear about some kind of agility, so it's by the insurer. The question is not agility, the question is mobility. We, insurance industry, need to keep mobile and keep moving and keep doing things, little steps with little steps, just to move forward and think about what we can do to go on and to do new things and to improve our organization. It's the only way that we can reach new steps in our structure. Thank you very much, and I think we have a little bit time if you have some questions.
Any questions?
Okay, I think we're good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.